So, mass shootings, I think, are the product of a dying society. Now, that's not the product of a dying civilization, necessarily, but what it implies, I think, is alienation from the civilization. So, I'm going to frame this around Beau's article, Lies by Omission, and this, the important part here is that the lies by omission are the ones the most powerful tool of the media, because what they'll do is tell you part of the truth, and they'll keep hidden the important contextual information that you would use to properly situate this within your existing web of beliefs. And this is why a lie by omission is way more dangerous than just a flat-out lie, because a flat-out lie can just be contradicted, whereas a lie by omission always has an aspect of truth to it. And a lot of people I've noticed have been saying things like, well, the media is just not covering mass shootings. They're lying by omission. And I understand why they think that that's the case. And in certain cases, that is absolutely true. When you have a particular ideological shooter who fits a particular demographic that the media can't in any way bear to have a negative portrayal of. And so there are definitely lies by omission in many ways that the media cover the mass shootings. But again, I think it's actually one of the problems that you have is not so much that the media are embarrassed, the fact that there was a black shooter or a Hispanic shooter or something like that, because their narrative is, of course, the shooters are all white, straight white young men. It's like, no, that's not true. I think really, though, the problem is the frequency of them. There is a cavalcade of these shootings. So let's just talk about the shootings in April 2022. This month's mass shootings in America. I didn't know there were, yeah, right.
You say it like it's an award show.
Well, I didn't realize there were quite as many as there are. And so and there are people always like, well, look at that. Another mass shooting just swept under the rug. Kind of, but it's just like, well, there is another one and another one and another one. And, how do you keep up with all of these? So this was on the 4th of April, where 18 people were injured and 6 killed in Sacramento, California. Police have no suspects in custody. Don't know anything about them. What community do you reckon they were from?
Jewish?
Possibly. Well, no, it turns out it was gang violence.
Jewish
Go to the
gangs?
next one. Nope, not this time. Go to the next one. They thought there was 5 gunmen involved.
I'm imagining really gangster Israelis now. I don't know.
Yeah, but gang violence is a euphemism for black people shooting black people.
It could be Hispanic as well.
It could be, but it's not.
Yeah.
They say 5 shooters, and there were 2 groups. There was an exchange of gunfire between the 2 groups, and they declined to elaborate on the gang affiliation of those involved, and had no information on potential retaliatory violence. As in, that's enough of that. Not our problem.
Well, streets are cleaning themselves. Attitude?
Yes,
I don't know. Like,
well, I'm more thinking this is the Heinleinian degeneration into ultra-violence on the streets that is going to cause the complete collapse of society, actually. I think Heinlein was right about that. Moral habits are not innate, and they are instilled by discipline, just so you know. There are, of course, videos on social media that showed altercations before the shooting, and you could see who the people having the altercation were. You see which community it was. And so the police are just like, well, don't know what we can do about this, and we're not going to try. And so this is the question, isn't it? It's what can be done about the mass shootings. For example, in response to this, you get articles like this from the Sacramento Bee. It's like, well, California is the toughest US gun laws. After the shooting, what else can they do? It's like, I don't know. What else can you do? What else can you do? I mean, you legalized theft in California.
There's nothing more you can do.
Yeah.
Carl. There's literally nothing. I mean, all gun crime comes from the gun laws. So we made the guns legal and everyone's still shooting each other.
Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised they're not just quoting Homer at us, to be honest. The blade itself incites to violence. It's like, yeah, but it doesn't actually. It's not just the existence of guns that makes people kill each other.
I was just like, if you ever thought about that for a minute, like everyone in the country owns knives, and yet we don't stab each other on a regular basis just because, like, it's only certain areas of the country, well, London, where you get stabbed on a regular basis.
Yeah, in gang wars, incidentally, because they don't have guns. I mean, a lot of them are getting guns because they get guns legally. But I mean, I love look at the framing here. They've banned high-capacity magazines and cracked down on assault weapons. They've made it so Californians have to pass a background check to purchase a gun or ammunition. They've prohibited buyers from having ammo or ghost gun parts shipped directly to their homes. What more can you do? Yeah, you can't do anything more. Like, The scourge of gun violence continues to be a crisis in our country, says American psycho actor Gavin Newsom. Governor of California. We must bring an end to this. It's like, this isn't about the guns, man. This is not about the guns. This is about the people holding the guns and why they want to kill each other. Anyway, let's move on. April the 10th in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Just 2 killed, 10 injured during a nightclub shooting. Bunch of people hanging outside a nightclub. There's an altercation of some sort, and suddenly a bunch of people get shot, 2 killed.
This also wasn't from Ezekiel and Zalman? No?
Police. It is unclear what led to the shooting. Police did not release information on whether the gunman was in custody.
They release information on the gunman?
No.
Could be an Indian.
Could be. Could be. Anyway, let's move forward to 2 days later, April the 12th, where have you got the Brooklyn subway shooting. Again, this is one of those ones where it's like, have I got the wrong one? I probably have. Oh, no, this is the Chicago shooting on April the 10th. Sorry, on the same day.
We're getting mixed up. Sorry.
Yeah, well, it was the same date. It's on the same damn day. Right, so this was in Chicago. But, I mean, to be fair, mass shootings in Chicago are actually not very newsworthy in and of themselves. Like in any given weekend in Chicago, like 20 people will die or be shot.
Living in a hive city.
Yes,
it's just like, there was another outbreak of
we will have to do
demons killing everyone.
We will have to do one specifically on Chicago, just so you can see how many people each weekend get shot in Chicago.
Yeah,
this is not remarkable in any way, shape, or form.
My favorite statistic: more Americans are killed in Chicago every year than were in 2 years in Afghanistan under Trump.
Yeah, 2 men were killed, 4 others were wounded during a shooting during a gathering. So people hanging out, who knows what the people involved were like here. This, again, it happened at 2 a.m. Sasha Johnson style.
I just got this image in my head of all these guys in tuxedos and brandy in their hands just going, well, I might go on a shooting. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about it. Oh, they're having a gathering? They're having a get-together? Oh, I've got to go down there and crash that. Anyway, moving on to the 12th of April in Brooklyn. This was the one that actually made the news because it affected people outside of a certain community. This was a chap who was wearing green construction vest, and he had pulled out smoke canisters and began firing indiscriminately on the train. Thankfully, didn't kill anyone. 16 people, I think, was shot. Some in critical but stable condition. This was the one where there were no working cameras on the subway. Looks sus, especially after the Epstein events. However, it looks like this again. I don't know why I'm disabusing so many conspiracy theories today, but again, I just don't think this is a conspiracy. I think this is incompetence in a collapsing society. No one's bothered fixing the damn cameras. They don't care.
I wouldn't be surprised if none of them work.
Yeah,
they're all just for show.
Yeah, maybe
if they fired the guy who watches the cameras.
It's probably cheaper just to have, buy the outer packaging of a camera. I'm not going to bother plugging it all in. It costs money. I don't care about any of these people. No one cares about any of these people. They don't care about each other. That's the thing. No one knows each other. No one cares. No one has a reason to be emotionally invested. So they'll do the bare minimum as they are contracted to do. Right, and so who did this guy turn out to be? Well, Frank R. James. What?
It's awful out there, Murray. People are awful to each other, Murray.
It's true.
Yeah.
There's a reason why Joker resonated, right? It's absolutely true. So this was a chap called Frank R. James, who was an insane black nationalist segregationist. Full-on critical race theorist. If he had had any kind of education, he'd agree with everything they said. He's 62, right? And his social media rants, he had a YouTube channel and everything, reveal a man consumed with hatred of white people and convinced of a looming race war. It's like, well, yeah, if you're going to start it...
The race war is coming and I'm going to be the one to do it, says the chap.
Oh, black Jesus, please kill all the whiteys, says the man who failed to kill a single whitey.
Hang on, does that imply that Jesus was white, but then there's black Jesus who was another guy?
Oh, God only knows what the bloody Hebrew Israelites really think about Jesus.
Oh, well, that's why it's so funny.
Yeah. But he apparently was not complimentary about any race. He hated Hispanics, Asians,
including blacks,
and his fellow blacks. Yeah. Well, I saw a video of him going on about blacks and how they're stupid for hanging out with the whites, and it's like, okay, they need segregation. They should never have never should have mixed.
Well,
it's like, right, well, there we go.
That's true of the Klan or neo-Nazis as well. They'll hate white people because
and he's just the other side of that coin. Yeah. And so obviously he goes on his
weird smirk on his face.
Yes, he goes on his rampage.
I'm getting Joker vibes as well again, though.
Yeah. And as New York Post are one of the few outlets that will actually go to the trouble of actually reporting this stuff in detail. But they view him as being psychologically possessed, ideologically possessed, sorry. And I think that they're right. Anyway, let's move on. 17th of April. Almost through halfway point of the month at this point. Pittsburgh Airbnb shooting. Where 90 rounds were sprayed in and around this Airbnb, according to the police. At the time of the reporting on this, there were no suspects, arrests, or possible motive. Airbnb did ban the guy who had hosted the party, though, from hosting any more parties, because 2 17-year-olds were shot and killed. And it's like, you can't have under 18s.
That was the important part.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, really got the priorities straight here. But a lot of people are asking the city what we can do, and no one has any answers. No one knows what to do, because the problem is an intangible problem, is that people have so little care for one another. All they can do is exist in a state of neutrality until there is a reason to hate each other. No one cares about each other. No one likes each other. Moving on, April 17th. Again, same day, in fact. In South Carolina, mass shooting in Furman left 9 people injured, thankfully none dead, but this was an Easter bash where the shots rang out. There were people inside and outside the lounge when the shooting started, and people had to flee, basically, obviously. And 3 men have been arrested, if you get to the next one, in connection with this. Good. But what are you going to do? And so this, I think, is really interesting, where, like, I'm just going through a bunch of them, but CNN have done an article on this where there were at least 10 shootings on Easter weekend in America. Mass shootings. Right? 10.
I just on Easter.
Yeah, on Easter.
Yeah. Well, Ramadan as well. It's a good point, John.
Sure, but the Muslims are like 1% of America's population.
Yeah,
this isn't a Muslim problem.
No, this one isn't. But, throughout the rest of the world, there was Ramadan
sure, the
celebrations.
Ramadan bombathon always carries on every year. But, like, again, like, this is just madness. 10 shootings, right? What do you think the experts think? Should we call in an expert? We need this expert's opinion, right? Easy access to guns is considered by experts to be the root cause of gun violence. That's right, people just wouldn't hate each other and want to shoot each other if guns didn't exist. That's why the history of mankind is peace and love, right up until around the 14th, 15th centuries when gunpowder was invented. Definitely no crusades before then or anything like that.
Yeah, but this is about, not about wars. It's about killing civilians. But then...
But no, not killing civilians. It's about killing each other.
Well, yeah, but like other people who are just innocent people walking around, right? And you don't have this kind of thing until, quite recently in American history, it seems.
Yeah. This is definitely a pathology of the modern era, right?
Americans have had guns forever, but they're not just killing each other left, right, and center.
Exactly. Why weren't they always going on shoot? Oh, well, it must be high-capacity magazines. Well, why is it then California has banned that and they don't have it?
Still got the guns.
Yeah, still got the problem.
Like, they got rid of the magazines, still got the problem.
Yep. But they say, like, and this is good framing, actually, by CNN. Open carry states lower the barrier for people to own and carry guns in public. But the spike in violence across America since summer 2020 has been general across cities and states with lax and strict gun laws, with progressive and conservative prosecutors, with Republican and Democrat mayors and governors. So it's not the access to guns then, is it? Because the people who have a hard time getting guns and people who have an easy time getting guns, they're both experiencing the same sort of spike in violence. Well, that's not the guns. Something else is the problem here. Anyway, let's carry on. 23rd of April in Washington, D.C. So there was a shooting in Washington, D.C. Active threat running around. Victims included 2 adults, a male and a female, and 1 juvenile female, I think which was 6 or maybe 12 in this one. It's hard to know because it's just like, well, in one of them there was a 6-year-old. And the thing is, it's also another thing. It's difficult. You've got to be very specific with your searching because often you get mass shootings in the same places. And so it's just like, right, was this the one from this month or last month or, 2 months ago? Anyway. So so the gunman for this one had posted online, 4chan user. If you can scroll down a bit, John.
He's a basket weaving enthusiast.
Yeah, no, let's have a look at the picture, right? Seems to be a 4chan white nationalist.
Is he Malaysian?
It looks that way, yeah.
This is just the joke that 4chan is a Malaysian basket weaving forum.
It pretty much is, yeah.
You got sick of basket weaving, apparently.
Yeah, weaving swastikas into baskets, and then goes on a rampage. Raymond Spencer, this was, right? Goes on a shooting rampage, and in the middle of it, he updates the Wikipedia page for the Edmund Burke School he is doing the rampage at. How mad is that?
What does he update it with? Is he? I presume about.
Do you
the
want to
shooting.
know? He wrote, a gunman shot at the school on 22nd of April 2022. The suspect is still at large.
Oh, God.
It's mad, isn't
It's
it?
going to be like, used to have 30 teachers, 28. Like, goes back.
Well, that's pretty much what he's doing, right? He also had posted other stuff to 4chan, a video of himself doing it, and posted, like, waiting for the police to catch up with me. Dear God, please forgive me. It's like, why did you do it? What made you think this was a good idea? Like with the gang shootings, at least it's more understandable. It's like you're in a paradigm where it's like, we hate those guys over there. Oh, they flipped us off. We know they're hanging out there. Right, let's go shoot them. Okay, understandable. But like in this, what the hell are you doing? What are you doing? You autist. Get off of the
Flip
internet.
me off, kills him, Carl in the corner. Understandable. Have a good day.
I'm not saying it's good, but like, at least it makes sense from their own paradigm.
You could follow the
this
logic
is our
from the weird,
turf,
weird
that's
place,
your
right?
turf, you know. But like this is just like, well, I just kind of wanted to go shoot up a school, and there's a picture from his like the police raided his home, of course, and look at his wall, Yakub. Like, get off of the internet for the love of God. It's not funny, but like, oh, it's ridiculous. And there are going to be people like, well, it's because you're right wing. It's like, is this guy right wing or is he just a lunatic? Was the black nationalist right wing? Maybe black nationalism was right wing. But the thing is,
Either way, the Malaysian basket weaving forum enthusiast certainly isn't a white nationalist.
I mean, they do say that you've got multiracial whiteness now.
I suppose all of Asia is white, so.
Yeah. But anyway, so just to round this off, just say that, look, there are going to be people like, see, this is right-wing ideology. It's like, well, what about when a left-winger goes on a mass shooting? Is that right-wing ideology as well? Like the transgender shooters. There have been at least 3 transgender shooters. Let's go for the most recent one, which was in 2019, I think it was, and they went to trial in 2021. And this, of course, was Devon Michael Erickson. I'm not sure if they're being dead named there. And Maya McKinley shot a student dead and wounded 8 others when they opened fire in their classroom in Highlands Ranch while their classmates were watching The Princess Bride. It was a great film. But the McKinney told the police while in custody that he targeted 3 students who bullied him for being transgender, but also that he wanted to make every student suffer like he had. So again, a wider attack on society. This comes from every perspective. So excluding the gang shootings, we have a repeated pattern of events. Again, the gang shootings, not justified, of course, but understandable with their own internal logic, right? Not justified, but I understand why they're happening. It's this kind of degeneration of this community into merely violent warring sects. But that's not what this is. That's not what the other one is. That's not what the black nationalist is. What this is people who have been radicalized in enclaves on the internet to become so different and unrecognizable to the wider society with which they have no connection. They don't know any of the people that they're running around shooting. And so this is the product of essentially the social contract society where people are totally free to do and be whatever they want. It's like, yeah, but people will be stupid and crazy things. Like they'll chop off their genitals or they'll be Malaysian white nationalists.
Well, you chop off your genitals and they'll be like, people should suffer as I have.
Yeah, exactly. Or they'll be, like rabid black supremacists. Like they don't care about the people with whom they live, like shoulder to shoulder, cheek to jowl.
Well, less and less in common.
Exactly, less and less in common.
Bind them.
And because they all of their mental activity is spent on these virtual spaces where they're nowhere near the people who are actually local to them, and then they find themselves becoming resentful against the just faceless masses. It's like, yeah, no, screw society, and they pull a joker and decide to go on a rampage. And it's like, okay. So this is something that I think is not going to stop.
If you appreciated that segment from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content we have on the site, such as the book clubs we do together, this one between me and Carl on Rousseau's social contract and the absolute insanity that he believes. And if you want to follow what else I'm putting out, you can follow me on Getter at @CallumOnGetter. Thank you and goodbye.